Hi.
No,
All right. Bob asked me if I wanted to talk about the history of Koha this year. And I said, heck yes, because Koha is my spirit animal. So we're here to talk about the history of Koha, fun things about open source, lots of trivia and fun little gadgets to throw out. So I hope you were paying attention in Marshall's presentation because he left us some Easter eggs for the clues for these quizzes. And then we'll talk about the koha-US and international community.
so yeah, I think, well, initially I was like, hey, Jesse, we should present on something. I have no ideas. And Jesse said, yes, let's do it. And then we'll eventually come up with an idea. But then I think it might have been, Wally said, wouldn't it be nice if somebody kind of introduced people to Koha and some of the things of the community that we're new. So that's kind of the goal here is have a little fun with those who are more experienced. But if you're relatively new to this, maybe we'll give you a better sense of what's going on in this community. So,
My name is Jessie Zairo. I've been using Koha for over a decade. My public library went live on Koha in 2014, which was Pasco County Library System in Florida. And then I came to ByWater in 2015. So I've been using Koha for a little over a decade.
So I've been in my position for about 14 and a half years, and I'm in Colorado. I manage a consortium called AspenCat. It has a variety of different types of libraries, really all types of libraries. And when I started, we had about 30 libraries, and now we have over 150. So we've seen a lot of growth there, and I'll talk about this a little bit more later, but we were originally on LibLime and then transitioned back to Community Koha in 2019. Oh, did I not say my name? Oh, well, yeah. And my name is Bob Bennhoff. Okay, so we're gonna do a little, there's gonna be some standing involved with this.
Can everyone please stand up?
So please arise. So we want to go through and see how long people have been using Koha or your library has. So if you are relatively new, if you've been using it less than a year, can you sit down? Yeah, so just a couple of you. How about 2 years?
Less than 4.
If you've been using it, yeah, well, the next one is gonna, let's jump up to 5 years.
Wow.
That's still about half the room almost.
Look at.
All right, do we want to go to 10 or maybe incremental? Let's go 8. Let's say 8.
Wow.
All right, 10 years. So now we've got a handful. Let's go 12.
13. So
15 years.
Yeah. So
We're talking 2013 now.
2013, okay.
So what, 15 years?
Yeah, so, well, let's just say, I'll repeat it. How long have you been?
Joel, how long have you been on Koha?
13 and a half.
13 and a half, okay. George.
Nichols has been using Koha since 2008.
Nichols has been since 2008. Do we have any earlier? Fred, how long have you been using it?
I believe 2013.
Okay.
Started out with version 3.12, and I did it all by myself.
Yeah, Fred wants to point out 2013 all by himself. Can anybody beat George with 2008?
Jason's tied.
Jason's tied? Okay. Well, you have a prize to split.
Oh, I have another one. I'll give one both to you.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see. How long have you been? 2009, okay.
Wow. 2012? Annika painted this.
So we are doing, for those online, we're doing a giveaway.
We'll figure out who this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just split it in half.
I have one for Jason.
Oh,
'Cause I love
good.
him.
We were, in the
You're
case of
welcome.
a tie, we were prepared. All right. So Marshall did cover some of the history. We're going to go over some of that again, and some of those things and talk about it from our perspectives, but so some of this will be a little bit of a repeat.
So big things are, in 1999, the work began on the Koha project, and then January of 2000, Koha went live at the Horfina Trust. In September of 2000, Koha was released to the world as an open source product. Koha being a Maori word which means gift and a contribution. In 2001, Paul Poulain, who's at Bib Libre in France, began adding significant features like multiple languages. And then in 2002, support for MARC cataloging and the Z3950 search standard was added. This is also when we added Bugzilla. How many people know how to use Bugzilla or what Bugzilla is? Yay. So Bugzilla is a place for the Koha community to track all things, enhancement, changes, new features, updates, securities, anything in the system. In 2005, the Zebra search engine is integrated and drastically improved search. And then in 2006, the first KohaCon was held for the community. Okay. This is Joanne Ransom.
So Koha is the name of our software, and it's our gift to the world. And Koha comes from the Maori language, which is our Indigenous people of New Zealand, and it means a gift, but it's a gift with strings. So it has connotations of generosity as well. So if you go to an event, any event, a funeral, a wedding, a meeting, you would take a koha with you, and it might be a local speciality. So it might be fresh fish, or it might be a truckload of vegetables. It might just be a big check, but you always take a koha with you, and it's an amount that you're able to afford, and that you choose the extent of the koha, and you give as much as you can afford, and nobody will judge you for. You can take nothing, then you take nothing, and that's fine. Come in and enjoy it. And then when people come to you, they will do the same thing. So there's a level of it's a contribution that, and it shares the cost of holding an event. It shares the cost of developing koha among us all. So it was a perfect fit. We would produce what we could and make it available for everybody. They could have it, download it, improve it, make it better, change it. But the deal was they then shared those enhancements for everybody else to benefit from, and that carries on. So it was exactly the right word for what we, for our lovely gift to the world.
So that was back in 2016. Joanne joined us on our podcast to just talk about the history of Koha. And I just think the message that she has been consistently sharing with the Koha community is just that gift back to all for those to share.
So Koha is.
No. Okay, this is a look at the first koha.org website. The Wayback Machine is such a good friend. So you can see this was right around 2005, 2006, when they made this available. If you go to koha.org, That was the original site, and we'll talk a little bit more about what happened with that site and the transition over to koha-community.org.
Honestly, this isn't too bad. A lot of sites from around there look way more dated than this. This is pretty decent. All right, so our first quiz. And this was, again, Easter eggs from the previous presentation. What global software bug led to Koha being created?
Yeah. Great. Anyone who wants to come up and take a little gadget kind of.
Get it to the person that answered first.
Yay.
Okay.
All right, so Marshall talked about Nelsonville Public Library going live. I was fortunate enough to see Nick Tepe and Owen Leonard speak about their transition at the Ohio Summit last month. And they shared some pictures of what it looked like when they made that first transition. And the thing that I found delightful was to hear the story of how they made this decision. And one of the things that really resonated was that their system administrator believed that the values of open source and sharing and contributions were right in line with what the library did as a community for their users. And so that was their first transition, and they went live in 2003.
Now this looks like a dated website. All right, another quiz. Who was the first committer to Koha?
Yes.
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 The answer was Chris Cormack, also previewed by Marshall. Good job to Christy for that one. All right. We'll talk a little bit about LibLime.
So LibLime, after a successful migration with Nelsonville, now known as Athens County Public Libraries, launched services in the US for libraries to transition to Koha. You'll see these, again, thank you Wayback Machine for finding us quick looks at the LibLime website. They migrated lots of libraries in that period between 2005 and 2009 when they decided to fork the code and not give their contributions back to the community. Another sword to the gut was trying to make the trademark of Koha. Go ahead, Joel.
Wait, hold on. We're gonna get Joel a microphone.
Okay.
So I'm gonna steal it from Bob.
Okay.
This caused a real rift in the community.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your patience.
All right, I just wanted to point out, as far as I understand it, it wasn't Josh and LibLime that wanted to do that. It was two large contributors that said they put a lot of money into Koha and a lot of development, and they did not want to share their enhancements. So in his case, he had no choice but to do that. It was obviously a bad thing, but yeah, there were two contributors that just did not want to share their stuff with the rest of the community.
Yeah, which again goes against the values of Koha.
Doesn't sound like a gift.
Yeah.
I'll wait for my.
My apologies.
So code forking can sometimes be a good thing, but this sort of thing where it takes something that exists and makes it more of a proprietary thing, not so great in an open source community, particularly when libraries had signed up for that. So my library was, I'm gonna ask for a quick show of hands. Was anybody else a LibLime library? Let's see if, yeah, George and Jason? Nichols was, okay. So we were late in the game. We were one of the last few standing, and when Marshall was doing his presentation, he mentioned the F in PTFS, and that is federal. And so what we were watching was a lot of move towards development geared towards federal libraries, not really useful for a consortium of small, mostly rural libraries in Colorado. So it became clear that community Koha was a better, was going to be a better fit. And I remember Jessie actually did a demo just with me before I brought in other staff to look at it. And it was really interesting to see the difference between something that had been part of an open source community and something that had been developed with a much smaller community with other focuses, because we could immediately see a dozen or so aspects of community Koha that were going to meet our needs because they had been developed by a community, a larger community of users. So I mean, I think I was 10 minutes into that presentation. I was like, well, we're going to be doing this because it's similar software, but it has the stuff we need. So that's when we started to make that move. And since then, I think like Marshall was saying, almost all their public library customers are gone. And I hope, nothing wrong with making federal money. It just wasn't a good fit for our needs.
So in 2009, look at Galen's name up there. They launched the new koha-community.org website, and this is what we're using today in the community to see all things, documentation, releases, downloading information, getting involved, newsletters, all those good things.
Okay, new quiz. What year did the Koha release schedule change from a number release to that date.month release that we're familiar with?
What is that?
Hearing whispers.
Nope.
Nick knows.
What date? 2016?
Yes,
Oh.
it was 1605.
What it is, it's the one stuff that.
Some swag for Nick.
Yeah.
So yes, someone said that it changed right after they migrated. So yeah, 2016. And that was 1605.00. So we'll talk a little bit about development and how that works.
So one of the first user groups was called Kudos, Koha Users and Developers of Open Source. Did anyone ever attend any of these meetings?
So far, just Nate.
Galen?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Maybe.
So this was the first user group in the US. They called themselves Koha Users and Developers of Open Source. John Bryce was the president from Meadville Public Library, who's still on Koha today. That's in Pennsylvania. Ian Walls, who was the president-elect, he was the New York University Health Sciences Libraries. So Ian works at ByWater now. You probably have had a ticket with him along the way. Vicki Teal Lovely, who was the secretary, she was from South Central Consortium in Madison, Wisconsin. They were a biblio.
Yeah, they're on Biblionovation still.
And then David Schuster, who was from Plano, Texas. They held a conference in 2011, and I had to go to a historian for this. I asked Brendan Gallagher what happened with this user group, and he said, as the community shifted and parted ways when the fork happened, folks, there was questions about which way to go. And so that's when we kind of saw that fizzle out. But this was a piece of history I did not know until recently.
Oh, yeah. So the next landmark we're going to talk about is ByWater Solutions. And so we're going to do Got some handsome gentlemen up there, but we're gonna do a quick dramatization, not necessarily accurate, of the founding of ByWater. With, why is Jessie wearing a hat? Well, who always wears a hat? Brendan.
Brendan. So crazy question, buddy. I was thinking we should launch a library software company. You know, maybe Evergreen or an open source product from New Zealand. I need supply skills, selling skills to make it happen.
Wow. What would you call it?
Oh, probably Gallagher, Karula Support and Design, GCSD for short.
Well, my only condition for doing this would be to name the company out of some really obscure bit of Lord of the Rings trivia. Can we do that?
Do you remember the Battle of ByWater and the liberation of the Shire?
Boy, I do. Let's start a company and call it Battle of ByWater Solutions.
How about just ByWater Solutions?
Even better. And thus it was founded.
So these, thank you, Wayback Machine. These are a few screenshots of the early days of ByWater when the team started first supporting Koha. Over the years, of course, have grown. Marshall showed some great, graphs to symbolize kind of the growth in the Koha community, which, so excited to be a part of.
I'm curious why cookies being dunked into milk. That's collaboration?
Because libraries and community go together like cookies and
Like cookies and milk. Yeah,
Want to say our website's way better than.
yeah. So I'm shocked that slogan hasn't stood the test of time. All right. So another quiz. Who was the 418th developer to have published a patch push in March 2020? And they are present here today. No,
No.
he started before that. Mr.
Yeah.
It's okay. I forget that I went out sometimes. Who said that?
Steve.
Steven.
All right, so it is not just ByWater that is in the support realm here. So here is some other companies that do it. Equinox being the biggest other one.
And if, for anyone who doesn't know how to find this, if you go to the koha-community.org site, all the way on the end under support, you could find support and paid support for any country or continent and where to look. We often get a lot of people that reach out from different countries, and it's really nice because you can go in there right by country and find it. This is another page if you really want to dive into history and find anything out about Koha. If you go to the About section in your Koha staff interface, you can see a timeline that lists everything. So what's fascinating about this is every time somebody pushes a patch, their name gets added all over the world. How darn cool is that?
This is how I knew Andrew had contributed. I did not memorize that piece of code. Okay, who was the first female release manager?
Yes. Yes.
We have our answer. Katrin Fisher.
Katrin was the release manager for 2405, 2411, and 2505. We love you, Katrin. I hope you're watching.
And she's got an interesting story because not like a development background, just a librarian in Germany, I believe. And
That's right.
She did a presentation last year for koha-US and kind of talked about how she just got involved and made her way all the way up to release manager. So let's take a broader view and look a little bit about what is open source. So I think we'll both kind of talk a little bit about what we view as open source.
Yeah. We found this quote by Joanne that we just thought was super important. To me, the most important thing about open source is the community around it. Because if there's not a community around it, it's not open source. And it's important that everybody has a voice and be able to attend meetings and talk about what they want to see in the product that they use every day. And that's the piece I think that's super important.
Yeah, it's that collaborative contribution system where there's a real level playing field and you're not just shouting into the wind and then somebody decides whether or not they put it in the code or it's their product, so they decide. So which of the following of these options is not open source?
DLC.
Incorrect. Hector. Hector is not open source. It is a robot in the Hitchcock. I can see it. All those others are open source. There's a way more open source stuff that we use on a daily basis than I think people realize. So which of the following is not an open source ILS? Okay. That is, of course, 2001: Space Odyssey. And then finally, which of the following is not an open source library product?
Yeah.
Data.
May I recognize Brett Spider? He is not open source. That is a proprietary cyborg. All right. We did want to go over a few commonly used terms because in the library world, we have lots of, it's almost its own language, and Koha is even more of that. So
I always say probably one of the toughest things when you're migrating any type of software, but of course, when you're coming from a legacy ILS over to Koha, terminology gets you because we call things different. Requests, holds, whatever it may be, issues, everyone calls it a little bit something different. So Bob and I tried to come up with a couple that we get a lot of questions about, and we'll start on integrations. So SIP2 is generally a connection that we make to an outside product to bring it in. Think about RFID pads or gates or PC res.
ebooks,
Yeah.
anything that's doing like patron verification.
APIs are another way that we're able to connect to, again, outside or third-party products. You can always look at the APIs. If you go to api.koha-community.org, you can see all the APIs for the Koha system.
Always trying to add more, always good ways to integrate. Z3950, this is a protocol that connects you to other databases. This is actually how we do all our cataloging in my consortia. Even though we pay for a source of cataloging, we access it through Z3950 because it's nice and convenient.
Cron jobs are scripts that you can run. Most commonly, think about ones like sending out your notices so you don't have to manually push a button, or automating reports so they automatically run and are sent to you via email.
Plugins are little pieces of Koha that aren't Koha that kind of interact with Koha. So that is when you have like a weird request, like we have a bunch of prison libraries and we want to be able to print the catalog. None of you want to probably print your catalog. Very important if you're in a cell though. So do we put that into Koha? Probably makes more sense to have it as a plugin.
Mana is a database that is available to the community. You'll see it in two places in Koha. One in the reports module, where you can search other Koha libraries that have shared reports in the Mana database. And the second place is in the serials module. So if you use the serials module, you can search for other prediction patterns. And in both cases, you're bringing in a copy of either that report or the prediction pattern. So it's, again, fostering collaboration and sharing.
We're kind of doing a back and forth thing, but I'm not going to be able to explain to you what OAI and PMH is.
I'll be happy to do this one. OAI PMH is a harvesting method. For a long time, Koha was just an out distributor, meaning like we could push out data to an outside source. So if anyone's using EDS, that's how we send data out. We harvest it from the Koha catalog and send it into the EDS or EBSCO's discovery service. But most recently, I think it was in one of the 24 releases, now Koha can act as a ingester. So you can harvest data from an outside source and pull it into Koha.
So there's a couple search terms or search indexers that you can pick from, Elastic and Zebra. Elastic is the newer one. It's got more customizability. So that's the one we're using. I remember years ago at the Pueblo conference, somebody that was early to it doing a presentation on that. And there seems to be more and more good development in Elastic. So I guess I'm pitching Elastic over Zebra.
Mm-hmm. And Zebra was the first, which we talked about in the timeline. Authorized values are generally drop downs that you see in your Koha system. So we put a couple common ones up here, ones that sometimes people forget about. B sort is the borrowers sort fields that you can add. A sort is for acquisitions. And does anyone know what this one is? Oh, yes.
It does conjure up husband frequency.
Husband frequency, yes. I'm going to let Bob talk about library
Yeah.
transfer
Oh,
limits.
the library transfer limits. Hopefully you're not using that. Full-time branch consortia, but it gives you an option to get some granular control on what can go to certain places. So you can limit it. Like if you don't want one branch to lend to a specific another branch, you can get down to that granularity. When you have a consortia where you have over 100 libraries, you can imagine the matrix of that looks like a real mess. And if you ever want to see it, I can show you. It is horrible. But the transport cost matrix, I think, is a bit more use.
Yeah.
Not something we use. But that allows you to basically figure out how which stops are going to get, which branches get more holds filled.
How many people are using the transport cost matrix? Yeah. Hey. All right, the last one we put down here is terminology. So the Koha community has a page on the wiki which lists out a lot of terminology. You'll also see a glossary of terms in the manual, which is linked out from all of your staff interfaces. And it gives common terms that you should use. For example, allow list, not whitelist, and staff interface, not staff client. Sometimes I still say staff client. It's hard to break it. You're calling that for years, but staff interface. And I just brought this up here. This is a good place to check on the Koha wiki. This has the terminology, what to use and what not to use for consistency.
Okay. Where was the first koha-US conference held?
Gary,
I think that's, so we have Wenatchee, Washington. And it was calling it a Koha, it is on the koha-US website, calling it a conference is a little, it was more of a meeting from what I've gathered from the agenda that you can still see on there, but
Those that were there called it an unconference.
unconference, yes. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about koha-US, this very organization that has brought us all here. So it is a 501c3 nonprofit. There's lots of meetings to attend, but there's mainly a general meeting and a board meeting. Both of those are open to all. And then there's a lot of resources in education. So videos, like we have like George's I'll repeat it. What's the name of your and Christopher's video series?
I would call it Christopher's video series.
Christopher's video series.
That's part of it.
It has an official name though, not Christopher's
It's terrific.
terrific
Every Tuesday,
every other Thursday video.
because Monday minutes was already.
So, but it is a great deep dive into some of the underlying things in Koha. So another source of a lot of meetings and opportunities are the special interest groups. You can see on the list up here that we have a couple that are open. Demonstration's kind of been open forever, but cataloging recently opened up. We had Heather did a great job with that,
Oh.
but.
Andrew
We got
says,
somebody.
yes, we
Breaking
got someone.
news.
Oh, great. Thank you to whoever volunteered.
Do we want to announce the name of this wonderful person?
Sure, Angela Barrett, she's.
Angela Barrett.
Angela.
Yay.
Thank you.
Give her some swag. But this is a great way to start getting a sense of the organization and getting that network within this community built. So another quiz. Who was the 500th developer to have a patch push? And that was November 23rd, 2023. Also in this room. Not Nick, not Andrew.
500 means they were new. This was their first patch.
Is it Brendan?
It's Brendan.
Brendan Lawler.
I'm surprised that Brendan here.
Yeah, give it here. He did the patch. He gets the trinket. Okay. So koha-US also has a number of committees. Development committee, this actively takes the money that we earn from doing events like this and puts it into giving back to the code. And I believe, is there a development selected or is it in the process of being selected?
This week, the emails will go out to members to vote for the final.
So voting on the final list of developments will come out. So if you're a koha-US member, you'll get an opportunity to have a say in that. Education does a variety of things. I know I moderated a really fun developers panel this past year. Finance is when you checked in, you talked to John. He does an amazing job as somebody who's not even on a Koha library anymore, still dedicated to this organization. So
Yes.
let's give him a hand. Fundraising, that's Jessie's committee. You want to talk about how active you are, all the weekly meetings you have?
Yes, we have lots of weekly meetings. No, really our big push of the year is the Koha Community Challenge. And we usually raise around $1,500 and everything we raise goes directly back to koha-US. So that's our big fundraiser of the year.
And then conference planning, I think that speaks for itself. We all made it here, it exists. Good job, conference team. Okay, there are some regional users group. The Kansas one, is that fairly active? I feel like that's one that's pretty active. I'm looking at my Kansas people.
Yeah, formal meetings twice a year.
Formal meetings twice a year for that group. I can assure you that the Mountain West, at least the Colorado part of that is not active at the moment. So anybody else in those states named that wants to talk, we could definitely do that. We just haven't been. Maybe you're leaving Colorado out. I don't know. And then Texas.
I could just say that I helped found the Mountain West thing, and then right around COVID, it fell apart, and then I went to ByWater, and I wasn't really involved in it anymore, so I allowed it to fall apart.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Somebody hear that and pick it up. Who wants to talk about Texas? I heard somebody barking over
That
here.
was Wally.
Wally.
We're gonna be talking about it after lunch.
Oh, okay. Can you just give us a quick?
We're a great group of people that love to get together and, share adult beverages. No, I'm just teasing. But we do love to get together and share. So we will talk about it after lunch.
Thank you, Wally.
Yeah, so there's always room for more of those. Okay, and the international community also is a big part of this. It's not just the US.
So if you go to the koha-community.org website, you'll see a calendar that will include both the Koha-US and Koha community meetings. There's a general meeting, there's a documentation meeting, there's a developers meeting. If you're interested in any of those, you should attend. The documentation one is great because they hold it via video conferencing and you can go in and learn how to contribute back to the manual. Nick could probably talk more about with the development meetings if you want to talk, but they're always open to all. They're documented and you can go on the wiki and see any of the notes.
So who was the very first vice president of koha-US? Who remembers that? I will, another hint, present in this room as well.
It's not me, is it?
It's not you, it's not George.
It's not George, it feels like it has to be Jason.
It's not Jason.
Jason's a president, but like, don't put a target on the head.
I think I heard Christie whisper it. That's right. Our equipment. Okay.
These by far are not all of the community roles that are out there. However, this just shows the capacity that the Koha community works together to make all of these releases that come out twice a year happen. Show of hands, who's been a release manager before in this room? We have Galen and Nick. Who's been a release maintainer? Galen and Nick. Andrew, I'm sorry, Andrew, I didn't see you. So these are the people that are making sure that the releases get out twice a year. You have quality assurance. Those are the people that are testing to make sure it's not blowing up or breaking anything else. You have documentation, which is super important to make sure the manual, the wiki, and all things get updated. Then you have experts. You'll see specialized experts, maybe sometimes for Elasticsearch, Koha testing Docker, that's KTG, packaging team, and translation. So there's lots on the wiki if you go there. Anytime a release comes out, you'll see a wiki page. So right now you'll see 2511 roles, and that'll tell you every role that's open. There's even social media. So if you're into social media, you can maintain social media for the Koha community. All volunteers that make things happen.
So just a real quick, because there are many presentations usually done by Nick on how development works. So this is a quick run through on kind of how this works. We talked a little bit earlier about Bugzilla, but once a patch is written, that does that gets through a testing, it gets signed off by members of the community. And then that is different than the QA process. Like Jessie was saying, somebody from the QA team will go in there and make sure it's up to a certain standard, not that it just does what it says, make sure that it's not breaking other things. And that's a really value added piece of this that I think helps keep this, the upgrades we get work as well as they do.
This is my favorite piece of it. The suggestions from one or a few becomes released to all. And so that's the power of every user has a voice. Oh, here it is. So this, again, if you want to get involved, this is a great place to look and see what some of the roles are in the system. And so if you want to get your feet wet, this is a great way to do it.
So final quiz, where was the last joint koha-US conference held? Because we do combine periodically.
That's right.
Many of you were there, yes. So. All right, so we've kind of sprinkled this throughout the presentation, but how do you get involved? I will tell you that the way I started to get involved with these things was, you know, we migrated in. All of a sudden, we went from having a very small community with that using liblem Koha to a much larger community, and Jessie said, I think you should run the consortia interest group, special interest group. I went, all right. But just starting to attend meetings and just getting to know people a little bit better, getting to see the value of that exchange of ideas, and then running that meeting, then I eventually was on the board, and then that went well enough. So then I ran for president, and then I was president last year. So there's lots of ways to get in on any level. And if you want to grow with that, you can. You don't have to, though. You can, just attending meetings is helpful to your library, I think. There's lots of good questions and answers and brainstorming in all those special interest group meetings and general meeting.
As always, if you have questions about joining the community or anything Koha, we love to talk. Thanks.